together, we are Wenatchee. And together, this is where we live.
Live from Studio 9. Here in downtown Wenatchee, Wake Up Wenatchee Valley is back. It is the 7th day of June, 2023. I am Dan Kuntz. I'm your host, and it's Wednesday. Oh, he forgot. I'll just roll with it, Uriah. Winning Wednesday. I'll just sing the theme. Having the time of the hell with it. Winning Wednesday is back, even though we didn't play our little thing to tell you it's Winning Wednesday. It's Wednesday. It's the first Wednesday in June that we've had a chance to check in with our good friends at the Pybus Public Market. We're going to do this once a month, maybe twice a month, depending on what kind of mood I'm in. We've headed down to the Pybus Public Market and interviewed some of the fine folks who decided to call the Pybus Public Market home. And this business today has been there since day one. They're one of the cornerstone tenants. I'm talking about Cafe Columbia. Cafe Columbia, not only have they been there since the Pybus opened 10 years ago, but they've actually expanded. They took over some space that another merchant had there, and I can safely tell you that they got good food because I eat there all the time. The BLT on sourdough with the avocado. It's good stuff. Cafe Columbia, you're going to get to meet the folks at Cafe Columbia a little bit later on today, and we have a $50 gift card. I'm holding it right here in my hands to give away to somebody who wants to win it. Send me your email, winner@ncwlife.com. Winner@ncwlife.com is the email address. If you didn't get that, it's right there at the bottom of your screen, right over there. Winner@ncwlife.com. You know the rules by now. One entry per email address. If you have more than one email address, you can enter more than once. You just can't enter continuously on the same email address. Ain't gonna work. We keep track of these things. Employees of Local Telecommunications, solely on broadcasting, and their immediate families are not eligible. Sorry, Alicia. And if you do not enter the contest, you can't win the contest. $50 worth of free food from our friends at Cafe Columbia. It's good stuff, and they're good people, too. You'll get to meet them in the bottom half of the hour. Winner@ncwlife.com. We'll do the drawing later on today for a $50 gift card to Cafe Columbia. Estimated retail value, $50, because I just said so. 61 degrees. You'll notice a few more clouds, high clouds, filtering into the Wenatchee Valley. Started about sunset last night, coming in from the south and the east. Still going to be very warm today. We're still under the influence of high pressure. Things will start changing a little bit on Thursday. The clouds are going to come in and be fairly prevalent on Thursday. That's going to still keep us quite warm. Talking a little bit of rain maybe Friday, but we could avoid the rain for the Wenatchee High School commencement exercises. It may taper off by Friday afternoon. Details are coming up. Plus news, plus sports, highlights of the Mariner victory and the Apple Sox loss, or our first Apple Sox game that we covered last year at Paul Thomas Senior Stadium. We'll have that for you as well. Mike Minotti has an opinion, and we wrap up our series on CPR and AEDs. Jonah is a local EMT, local emergency medical technician, and he actually came into our studio and showed us how to do it. He brought in a dummy, and he brought in a friend of his. I'll let you decide who's who. We'll have that for you in the back half of the program. Let's get going. 3 minutes after the hour. Got a lot of things to get to. Let's not waste any more time. Beautiful view of Salt Lake City, Utah. I'm sorry, I'm being told now that is not Salt Lake City. That is, in fact, the Wenatchee Valley. And boy, there was a lot of mosquitoes at Paul Thomas Senior Stadium last night. Poor Eric was getting eaten alive. Allie, our good friend Allie Shank, the general manager, I don't know where they came from. Anyway, We got through it okay. It's okay. Still mosquito season. Good morning to the valley and the Columbia River. This is a great view from our Waterville camera looking back down towards the Wenatchee Valley. That's quite a ways away from where I'm sitting, and yet there it is. Great view from our Waterville camera. We turned it around 180 degrees to look down the Columbia River and Lake Antioch and the Wenatchee Valley off in the distance from our Waterville camera. To Smalls we go. This is US 97A on the way up to Lake Chelan. Another view of the Columbia River, just sitting there. Understand a couple of rocks on the roadway on 97A. The DOT has already come and got them out of the way. You're okay there, no problems. And let's check in with Stein. Good morning, Kashmir. You can see the golf course jumps right out at you. And the Kashmir Fairgrounds will be interviewing Chuck Egner, our good buddy Chuck, for the big Bluegrass Festival coming up in the fairgrounds. We'll be talking to Chuck next week. Good morning to Kashmir. Looking due east towards the Wenatchee Valley from Stein Hill, named after the Kashmir pioneer Bob Hill. Quick slide to show for you, and this is going to give you an idea of the dramatic changes coming our way. Hot and dry today, highs in the 90s, but by the time we get to Friday, temperatures will be only in the 70s, and we have a chance of some rain. Now again, the rain thing on Friday is about a 40% chance of showers, but they say it could taper off by late Friday afternoon. Hopefully by the time the commencement exercises begin on at 8 o'clock on Friday night at Leib-Off Field at the Apple Bowl for Wenatchee High School, we'll be dry. Don't know yet. We'll have a better idea tomorrow. From the National Weather Service, here we go. Sunny today, again filtered sunshine, still quite warm, high of about 94. We hit 88 officially yesterday, but that was up at Pangbourne. It was a couple of degrees warmer here on the valley floor. Look at that overnight low, 68. That could be a record for a warm overnight low for this date, because the blanket is going to come on and the clouds will be hanging around for the most part on Thursday. Can't rule out a raindrop. Slightly cooler Thursday with a high of 91. Again, look to the southeast. That's where the high clouds are coming in. By the time we get to Friday, the sun's going to be taking the day off. About a 40% chance of rain. Probably no thunderstorms, though. We'd like that, with a high of 79. And then another high pressure ridge reestablishes itself on Sunday and is going to hang around. All of those temperatures are above normal. We've been above normal for the last 5 days in a row, and our afternoon high temperature has been above normal for 12 of the last 14 days. The last 2 weeks have been very warm indeed. All right, got your forecast, 6 minutes after the hour. You want the news? You're going to have it in 2 minutes. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
I had a seizure in the middle of the night, and they rushed me to the hospital and decided to induce labor to try to get the baby out. The outpouring of love and support I got from Confluence Health. My coworkers coming to the ICU to be with me. For me, it's the work family. It's just incredible to have support no matter what I'm going through in my personal life, my own health.
It's Click It RV's lowest price guarantee sale going on now at your neighborhood Click It RV.
Be a winner like me and get to Click It RV.
With 0 down and no payments till September, now is the time to own your dream RV.
Get to Click It RV now. Are you going to be mad, bro?
Get never before deep discounts on trailers, fifth wheels, toy haulers, and motorhomes. Plus the best selection, highest trade-in values ever, and a lifetime warranty. Nobody beats the discounts at Click It RV.
I'm Richard Sherman, and we guarantee it.
On Frontage Road.
Few high clouds, 61 degrees. We'll be right around 90 or so, maybe a little bit into the 90s today. Cloud up a little bit more tomorrow. Rain possible on Friday, and then not a bad weekend. It's 8 minutes after the hour. Wenatchee man's been missing now for about a month and a half, and well, the police are seeking your help in searching for that gentleman, 38-year-old Travis Coleman. He went missing in the Wenatchee foothills back on April 22nd. Multiple volunteer searches of the canyon areas on the west side of the valley have had no results so far. Coleman's family said he was suffering from confusion when he left on foot from his home near Castle Rock and No. 2 Canyon. One search about 3 weeks ago found Coleman's bags and some personal items near Butler Ridge. He's now officially listed as a missing person. If you have any information that could help the police find Travis Coleman, give the police a call, please. Firefighters in the Medhow Valley had to control a controlled burn that wasn't so controlled. After a while, it grew beyond its borders on Monday night. Stations in Twisp and Winthrop responded about 7:45 to Twisp Airport Road, that's just northwest of the Twisp Municipal Airport, and found the fire had spread to about 100 square feet in tall grass. First responders knocked down the fire, and the State Department of Natural Resources made sure there was a fire line dug around the perimeter. Okanagan County Fire District 6 says the work was complete in less than 2 hours. A lawmaker from our area is asking for clarity on the state's new prohibition on assault weapons. 7th District Senator Shelley Short, she was one of the Republican votes against HB 1240 that outlawed the manufacture, import, and sale of semi-automatic rifles that met state definitions for an assault weapon. Recently, Short submitted a formal request for an opinion from the Attorney General's office asking whether rimfire rifles are exempt from the ban. The .22 caliber rimfire ammunition is the most common type in the world, but it's not specifically mentioned for exclusion in the new law. The Attorney General's office says it's looking over Short's request and issued a notice that's asking for public comment on how its opinion should be framed. Short's district includes Okanagan, Douglas, and a part of Grant County. Wenatchee Valley's largest low-cost medical provider has passed a hurdle to retain its federal certification. Columbia Valley Community Health says an on-site assessment by the Federal Health Resources and Services Administration found no deficiencies in its services. Now, to keep its health nonprofit status, CVCH has to go through a full review process every 3 years. That includes a top-to-bottom inspection of its offices and its clinics. CVCH provides medical, dental, behavioral health, and other supporting services throughout our area. Of course, it's almost done building their new campus in East Wenatchee. And check out this video. This is pretty cool. This comes to us from Grant County Fire District number 8. A Grant County Sheriff's deputy swam from the shore of Lanice Lake to aid a struggling swimmer. This happened not long ago. That's Deputy Josh Fitzhugh swimming to the aid of a man holding onto a raft. The sheriff's office said the man had ventured out onto the lake to get his raft over the weekend, but then he was too tired to climb aboard or get to shore. Fitzhugh gave the man a flotation device, then pulled him and his craft back to shore. The swimmer was tired, but did not require any medical attention. Lanice Lake is well there. It's about 4 miles east of Beverly, 8 miles southeast of Wanapum Dam. Could have been a tragedy. Avoided. That's the news at 12 minutes after the hour. At 5, 6, and 10, you can watch the news on television. At 5 o'clock tonight, give or take a couple of minutes, you can watch the news on our Facebook page, on our website, ncwlife.com, or on our YouTube page. And if you have a news tip, we'd love to hear from you. Get a hold of us. That's how we have to find out about these things. We don't just sit on our thumbs all day. Well, most of us don't. Send us an email, news@ncwlife.com. Mariners win, Apple Sox don't. Sports in 2 minutes. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Hey there, folks. Blueberry Carrie here to invite you on out to Blueberry Hills to experience some real treats. Take a look at our homemade cream pies, our amazing cheesecakes, and don't forget our famous banana pudding. Remember, we're more than just great treats. People come from all over the world to experience what has been called one of the best destination restaurants in the Pacific Northwest. So come on out and see what all the fuss is about. Blueberry Hills in Manson. It's where the world is coming to.
Hey, welcome back to Save Mart. What can we help you find today?
We're looking for a mattress.
Oh, right this way. We got a large selection. We have this pillow top here.
Oh, comfortable.
We have more to choose from down here. I think I have the perfect one over here for you.
I guess we'll take this one.
You'll find it at Save Mart. Full service at a low, low price.
"14 minutes after the hour, the Mariners snapped their 3-game losing streak in San Diego, knocking out the Padres last night. The final was 4-1. Logan Gilbert dominated over 7 innings. Teoscar Hernandez and Julio Rodriguez each homered, and Seattle is back to the 500 mark.
The 1-2. Breaking ball on the ground. Can't get there. J.P. Crawford hits third. It's coming home. The Mariners have taken the lead on a 2-out base knock by Ty France.
Grow and understand what you're doing right and wrong. That's a ribby. That is a ribby.
Yes, it is. And the Padres tie the score 1-1. Teoscar Hernandez has lined back to the pitcher and struck out swinging.
High drive, deep left center field. Look at this baby ride. Goodbye. Home run. Teoscar Hernandez. And the Mariners have a 2-1 lead. Teo with home run number 10, RBI number 31. The Mariners, man, there's the first home run since the first game of this road trip. Holy moly.
Julio, this one is gone. Julio, second deck. 3-1 Mariners. Welcome to the ball game, Steven Wilson.
He got a hanger and absolutely brutalized it. My goodness. That is a joyous scene right there. 436 projected feet. No doubt about it.
When you have the big bats doing big things, that's a skimmer the opposite way. France pedal to the metal. He's coming home. Here's the throw from Dixon. France slides in safe.
Trying to put this baby on the right side of the column for the Mariners. The pitch. Come back here. Slow roller. Here's Cabby. He throws. He got him. And the Mariners win this game.
Manager Scott Service says Logan Gilbert was exactly what the Mariners needed after they got swept in Texas over the weekend.
A good effort by all of our guys, but starting with Logan. Awesome outing. Was on top of them all night long. And I think that the thing that we've been talking to Logan a little bit about is, game awareness, knowing where you're at. And I thought his execution of pitches in that 7th inning were maybe as good as they were all night long, knowing that you're kind of at the end of the game, empty the tank, but you keep executing pitch by pitch. It was awesome to see, and it's really nice to have Andres Munoz back. It really shortens the game for us. Just it doesn't sound like a big deal, 3 outs there, but it really does, just change the whole momentum of the game, and Paul's having a great year there. I think offensively tonight, moving in the right direction. Talked about a few things before the game, some adjustments we wanted to make as a team. I thought we did it. Stayed in the middle of the field a little bit more, but there's not many nights I talk about maybe the one at bat that I didn't get a hit that really changed the game for me. J.P. Crawford in the 4th inning is down an 0-2 count. He somehow works a walk. After that, it forced the pitcher to throw 17 more pitches, and now the starter's out of the game in the 5th inning. Those little things like that maybe not show up in the box score is a big deal, change the game. And those type of things we got to be cognizant of and understand where we're at in the game. But heck of a job by our guys. Obviously, home run, JP laid. Teoscar had a big night. Some good things there offensively. Hopefully we can build on here heading through the rest of this road trip.
Hernandez, Rodriguez, and Ty France each collected 2 hits in the game. Andres Munoz made his return from injury to retire at the side of the 8th, and he threw really hard, too. The 2 teams wrap up their brief 2-game set this afternoon. It's a matinee, 1:10 on Root Sports Northwest. Other American League West action, Jace Peterson was 5 for 5 with a couple of home runs. Oakland beats the Pirates. Wow, that's amazing. Let's see here. The Blue Jays beat the Astros 5-1. What else would happen here? Texas beat St. Louis 6-4, and Mike Trout and Matt Theus each hit 2-run base hits in a 5-run 5th inning for the Angels as Los Angeles tops the Cubs 5-4. Too many errors, too many walks. You add those up, you're going to lose. The final was 5-4. It was the home opener for the Apple Sox in West Coast League Baseball, with Wenatchee earning an early lead, but a 4-run, 3-error 3rd inning gave the Drifters a lead that they did not relinquish. We had the game right here. Eric Grandstrom with the call.
Pitch on the way, bounces in, goes all the way to the backstop. The runner breaks for home, and he will score standing up. Apple Sox get an early lead on a wild pitch. Vassar looking for his first strikeout of the summer collegiate season. The pitch on the way to the plate is swung on a hit back past the mound. Second base for one. The throw to first is in time. What a double play. A run will score on the play. But what a double play by Fred Buxton at second base. Bunt up the first baseline. Vassar off the mound will scoop with the glove, throw high, and 2 runs are going to score on the play. And it's just become a disaster here for the Apple Sox defensively with another error. That's their third of the inning. Or excuse me, Gore at third, Voltaggio at second. This pitch swung on a grounded to the shortstop, bobbles the ball, fields, and now will run towards third base. A run's going to score on the error on the shortstop. Jaco. Pitch here swung on a hit through the hole. Seeing eye single is going to score a run. Right fielder comes up with the ball and bobbles it, and everybody going to be safe here. Give an RBI to Gage Bruce, and that's our first run driven in the ball game on a hit when they first began in 2000. Runner from first goes. The pitch is swung on a miss, and a throw down to second base goes into center field. Another run's going to score on a throwing error by the catcher. And it's now 6-2.
This is the first actual chance I've had.
Ooh, a high fly ball to left field deep, and it is gone. Round tripper for Aiden Van Runsum. And maybe that'll be the charge that puts a little life in the bats for the Apple Sox here tonight as Aiden gets the second home run of the Apple Sox early season. Makes it a 6-3 ball game. 0-2 the count to Olin. Swung on a chop towards the left side of the infield. Backing up the shortstop from his pocket will throw to second in time. The runner at first is safe, and a run will score on the fielder's choice. Calnan ready, and the 2-2 pitch is a check swing. He went around, and that'll do it for the Apple Sox here tonight as they fall to the Springfield Drifters by a final of 6-4.
It wasn't 6-4. Confusing play in the 6th inning. It took a while to get the ruling. The actual final was 5-4. I won't explain, but anyway, bottom line is that they didn't win. After the game, Coach Mitch Darlington said, well, poor defense and lots of walks. You're going to lose.
Yeah, just too many free bags. Had 7 walks, 5 errors. That's not a recipe to win a ball game, so really got to clean that up. We'll have some new guys rolling in tomorrow, and yeah, just got to be better defensively.
That was a tough situation for Quincy. A bunt on the third base side, and you make the play defensively, but then you don't have somebody covering the bag at first. And I was talking about that on the broadcast, that sometimes you got guys that, on a 10-day contract or something like that, or playing positions. You only have, 10 position guys, so you might be playing a position you're not used to, and, oh, yeah, I got to cover the bag.
Yeah. That's just kind of a product of guys rolling into town. We haven't had a lot of time to really practice as a team, run through bunt defenses, that sort of a thing yet. But all things that we're going to be able to clean up, and we look forward to cleaning it up and getting better tomorrow.
Wenatchee and Springfield, Game 2 tonight, 6:35, Paul Thomas Senior Stadium. The game will be broadcast on radio with our friend Stormin Joel Norman on Sunny FM. All right, to the West Coast League. Cowlitz hung on to hand Bellingham its first loss of the season. The final there was 4-3. Jason Waller, 2 for 2 with 3 RBIs. Portland beat Kamloops 11-4. Tyler Davis had a 3-run home run, drove in 4 for Victoria in a 9-5 win over Walla Walla, a town so nice they named it twice, and you just looked at a VCR. Ridgefield scored 2 runs in the bottom of the ninth to walk off Edmonton. Roberto Nunez's 3-run home run highlighted a 5-run third inning for Port Angeles. The lefties beat Bend. Kelowna brought 9 men to the plate and beat Nanaimo 9-5. Those 9 men came to the plate in a 5-run 8th inning. And Yakima Valley scored 3 runs in the bottom of the ninth to win in Corvallis. And finally, with the standings, there is your standings after last night's games. Unless we want to show up a photo of a VCR again. And there we go. Okay. Those are just some of the games that people are playing this Winning Wednesday. Guess what the obscure holiday of the day is today? We gave you a sneak preview. There it is. National VCR Day. We're in that sweet spot in time when either you had a VCR and you loved it and you used it all the time, or you never owned a VCR and have never used a VCR. VCRs go back a long time. Of course, a lot of shows were videotaped in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Most live shows were videotaped, and they erased the tape to use it again. But it became more and more of a household item in the 70s. We had a Betamax when we finally got into the video thing in the late 70s. We bought a Sony Betamax because we compared, and it was the superior product to the VHS, but of course VHS won the format war. The big year was 1975. That's when all the major companies decided, hey, this home video cassette market might be a big thing. Panasonic, Toshiba, Sony, RCI, Impex, JVC. The Supreme Court ruled that you could tape television programs and play them back at your own private home for your own private entertainment. That changed the deal, so you could actually have VCRs that could record. And then along came DVDs, and that was the end of the VCR. It was all the rage for a while there. I think in my lifetime, I had like 5 VCRs. And of course, the Betamax. Don't have that anymore either. A lot of things I don't have anymore. My sanity, for one, 24 minutes after the hour. Today in history, happy birthday, if you will, to Vatican City. There's Vatican City. There's the map of Vatican City. They ratified the Lateran Treaty. That was between Rome, because Vatican City is right in the middle of Rome, and Italy, and the Holy See. So that allowed the Vatican City to become a sovereign state, its own nation. So Vatican City is home to the Pope, of course, and the Roman Catholic Church, 94 years old. It's 121 acres. That's it, 121 acres. That makes it 1/8 the size of Central Park. It's the smallest country in the world. The population, 825. There are no taxes in Vatican City, none. They make their money off, well, admission fees to museums and stuff, and the selling of trinkets and postage, people who collect postage stamps. That's one of the hardest ones to get is the Vatican City one, so they do that. That's how they get their revenue. Souvenir sales and stuff like that. Two very strange things about Vatican City. Their per capita rate of crime is one of the highest in the world. Is it? Wait a minute, in Vatican City has a high crime rate? Yeah, pickpockets. Pickpockets in Vatican City, and St. Peter's Square with the tourists. They just whoop. They have a lot of that. And Vatican City leads the world in wine consumption per capita. Happy birthday, Vatican City. Two significant Supreme Court decisions. Griswold v. Connecticut, June 8th, 1965. There are some zones of privacy that we get to enjoy. That's not literally written into the Constitution, but you add up all the different little things, enumerations, there is some guarantee of privacy, said William O. Douglas and a majority of the United States Supreme Court. Of course, this was the stepping stone to Roe v. Wade. Since Roe v. Wade was overturned, my guess is Griswold v. Connecticut, handed down in this state 58 years ago, is probably doomed to extinction. What started this whole thing? In Connecticut, it was against the law for married couples to own and use contraceptives. That was the basis. It was against the law for married couples in Connecticut to use contraceptives. Thus came Griswold v. Connecticut. And Cohen v. United States. This I could barely find this in old newspapers. Supreme Court rules 5-4 that, quote, one man's vulgarity is another man's lyric. Paul Cohen wore a suit jacket into a courthouse in California with a certain 4-letter word, blank the draft, written on the back of it. He took off the jacket, folded it, put it in his lap, but it offended one of the court officers who arrested him under this obscure California obscenity law. Went all the way to Supreme Court, and the most conservative justice on the Supreme Court at the time, in 1971, John Marshall Harlan, said, no, you can't just ban people from being exposed to words that they don't like. Vulgar writing is protected under the First Amendment of the Constitution in public. Birthdays. Dino Paul Crocetti. Dino, Big Daddy Dino, the king, Mr. Cool, hey, it's Dean, right? Dean Martin, one of those guys who did it all. He was a singer and an actor and an entertainer, and the Dean Martin Celebrity Roast, he did it all. Dean Martin, born in the state in 1917, was a boxer in his youth, the pride of Steubenville, Ohio. Tom Jones is 83 years old today. It's not unusual for Tom Jones to celebrate a birthday. He's got a new album out, his 41st album. It's a bunch of duets. Tom Jones, 83, Rock On Tom. Speaking of rock and roll, God, we miss this guy. Prince Rogers Nelson. Musical genius. That's all I got to say. Prince. But the music lives on. Never far from my turntable. Prince was born in the state in 1958, which means he would have been 65 today. Wow. And my favorite comedian on Saturday Night Live for a long time, Bill Hader. He always cracked me up. I like Bill. He's pretty good. He's 45 years old today. What do we got? Oh, we got Mike McNaughty with an opinion. Sorry. Also, we wrap up our series of CPR and AED machines because the first week in June every year is a National CPR and AED Awareness Week. We teamed up with our friends at Confluence Health. We've been talking about it in segments, and we're going to wrap it up with an in-house demonstration in the studio right next door to me with Jonah. What happens if you need to do CPR or get out an AED machine in an emergency? We'll walk you through that. But Cafe Columbia is this month's sponsor of Winning Wednesday, and here it is, a $50 gift card from our friends at Cafe Columbia at the Pybus Public Market. We're spotlighting the businesses that call the Pybus home because this is where communities meet, and they got great food. They're one of the cornerstone businesses at Pybus. They've been there since Pybus opened. So let's get to meet the folks at Cafe Columbia. Continuing our series of conversations with the good folks who have decided to call Pybus Public Market home. These folks have called the Pybus Public Market home for a decade. 10 years. They're one of the very first folks to sign up and say, I want to do business here. Kathy, tell folks about your fine business, Cafe Columbia.
Sure. So one of the things that we wanted to talk about today is our new brunch offering. On the weekends, we do a brunch here at the cafe. It's all scratch. We've got eggs Benedict, croque monsieur, avocado toast, bagels and lox. We've got all kinds of different grain bowls, in addition to our regular breakfast offering, as well as our scratch bakery offering.
So it's actually a traditional brunch in that respect. It's not quite lunch and it's not quite breakfast. It's perfect for people on Saturdays who like to sleep in, have a nice cup of coffee, and what do you want to do today, Janet?
Yes.
Let's go to Cafe Columbia,
exactly.
And we can have something around 10:30, 11 o'clock.
Exactly, and it's all scratch, so we make everything right here.
That means that's everything. I mean, if you're a serious gourmand, you want scratch-made food.
Yes, you do. The only thing we don't make is the muffin,
right?
For, the bread.
And the bagels too, as we just found out. Your bagels come from elsewhere.
The bagels come from Yakima, Burmaster Bagels. And then the other thing that we wanted to talk about as well is some of our suppliers. So we try to do as much locally as we can with people here in the north central area.
Right.
So the Burmaster Bagels, those are from Yakima, or Zilla.
Close enough.
So that's where we get those. We get local bread from Bosket Breads out of Leavenworth, and we get several different things from him. He's great. We love him. We serve Blue Star coffee, and we've been serving that since the very beginning. Mm-hmm. They're out of Twisp, Washington. And then our farro that we use for our grain bowls is coming from Twisp as well, from Bluebird Farms. We were lucky enough to go visit there yesterday.
When you fired this baby up 10 years ago, did you have a philosophy? There was just the 5 of you two, and you had a coffee, a barista, and you had a cook, and you had a
baker.
A baker. Yep. That was about it, wasn't it?
Yes.
So it was just a dream, or what?
Well, when we first started at the market, we had another business here. It was called Almond Blossom. We did all kinds of roasted nuts and specialty foods. And a space became available next door to us. And the people that had been there, Ruby Mars, were doing coffee. And so the market asked us if we wanted to take over that spot. And our philosophy then was a little bit of bakery, some coffee, and just a few items of food. Since then, we've grown a little bit.
Yeah, or a lot, as we like to say. A couple of things I wanted to point out. The Cuban, yeah, baby. The Cuban. I mean, every time I eat a Cuban, I want to become a communist. They're that good. Also, the BLT with avocado. Oh, absolutely fantabulous. The coffee is fantastic, especially the iced caffeine drinks, which are important this time of the year.
Yes.
And maybe the coolest part of all, besides the food, you can eat out in the main corridor of the Pybus Public Market. That's where all the seating is. Or you can eat out on the deck when the weather is nice. You got the best of both worlds, Kathy.
It really is a nice time to sit on the patio right now, especially before it gets too hot.
Lemon bars.
Yeah.
Can't forget about the lemon bars. Cafe Columbia, you've been here 10 years. You're one of the anchor tenants. Obviously, it's working out pretty good for you.
We love being here at the market.
And one last thing, talk about your staff. No staff of professionals, this doesn't happen.
Yeah, we've got a really great team. We're blessed to have strong people in each area of our business. We've got great bakers, baristas, and our kitchen team is awesome.
You said the word team. I like that, because that's what it's all about here.
Yes, it is.
At Cafe Columbia. Thanks for taking time out and visiting with us. We appreciate it. Take the rest of the day off. You work too hard. We'll be
What's the best way to attract a wide variety of beautiful birds to your backyard? By offering the birds the right foods in expertly designed bird feeders from Wild Birds Unlimited. Whether you've been feeding the birds for a while or are just getting started, let our backyard bird feeding specialists show you how to add a little joy to your life and make nature a part of every day. Shop now for exclusive bird foods, feeders, hardware, and more. Wild Birds Unlimited. Products designed by experts. Trusted local advice.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, Bruce Springsteen is a Jersey boy, and that's pretty cool. But his song, Glory Days, always kind of bothered me. I always thought it was depressing, particularly the line, well, time slips away and leaves you with nothing, mister, but boring stories to tell of. Now, this is my goal. I never want my glory days to be behind me. I always want them to be something ahead. No matter how old we get, I think we ought to need to keep stretching ourselves, keep trying to top the good stuff of our past. Glory days? Maybe sometime tomorrow. This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
When Mike leaves town, it's a little scary. You never know who might be outside. But we feel safer inside, knowing our home is being monitored by a local company. I can check our alarm from just about anywhere, so when we get home, I know it's safe.
Protect your family and save money with a local company. Switch your current security monitoring to Guardian Services from LocalTel. Call Guardian Security from LocalTel now, or visit localtel.net to learn more.
We talked about this on Friday. We talked about this on Monday. We're talking about it again today. CPR, cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Did I say that right?
You sure did.
Damn, I'm good. Jonah, you saw him in an earlier video that we did with our friends at Confluence Health. All you saw was his hands. Now you get to see the real deal. He is an EMT. He's the real deal. And for the next 10 minutes or so, he's going to take his 60-minute class, and he teaches to anybody who wants to learn it. He's going to condense it down to about 10 minutes. Because you know, and I know, and you know as well, everybody should at least know the basics. It's one thing that you have to have complete certified CPR training, be a card-carrying CPR dude, so to speak, or lady, as opposed to just, I should at least know, if the time comes, what I'm doing. Do it right instead of wrong.
Absolutely, yeah. Most CPR classes range anywhere from 3 to 5 hours. What we're going to try and do is just get down to the basics of something that somebody can watch. And be able to at least kind of navigate and know what it feels like and kind of what it looks like. If you were to see someone in cardiopulmonary arrest, essentially, when you call 911, the dispatchers are going to be able to walk you through, but it's still a very terrifying situation. And so getting that hands-on is kind of what we're trying to show people. We actually have a couple, actually one course that's coming up at PIBIS June 24th from 10 to 2. And that's going to allow you to get some hands-on, but it's not a full meal deal course. We do offer those all throughout the entire region. And so if anyone's interested in being able to do that CPR, they can sign up with some links that you'll provide. So
introduce your cohort here, Jonah.
Yeah, so this is Austin, friend and coworker. What we're going to be demonstrating today is, again, kind of that abridged version of CPR. Kind of how we walk through it, but again, a normal course is typically quite a bit longer because it usually includes child, infant, and first aid. So this is just kind of the skin and bones of CPR.
Before we get started, one more question, because you just brought up a very interesting point. This is a normal-sized CPR dummy that we're looking at. This is what you kind of bring along with you.
Correct.
Different protocols if the physical human body is considerably smaller or considerably larger. Is that something we need to keep in mind?
Not typically with larger,
okay.
But we do CPR differently with child and infant. So that's another great thing that CPR classes provide, is that you will learn adult, child, and infant CPR and the differences in how we perform CPR on those populations, along with first aid and how to treat those different populations as well.
One more little caveat, then we're going to let this guy go to work. I'm going to let him take over from here. First thing you told me when we got here, what kind of setup do we want to do? Most people who are in cardiac distress are on the ground, number one, and that's important. And even if they're not, a hard, flat surface is important.
Absolutely.
You don't want to do it on a mattress or on a couch or anything that has some give, correct?
Exactly. So if someone is in a bed, is in a chair, we want to try and get them down to the ground as safely as possible if you're able to without injuring yourself. You know, one interesting thing within Chelan, South Douglas counties, we found that approximately 70% of cardiac arrest happens in the home. So this is another good reason why it's important to be able to learn CPR is typically not in the movies where you're going to see someone down on the side of the road, but it could be a family member in your own home. So again, making sure you get them down to the ground, and then we'll kind of show you the step-by-step in pieces how that comes together.
Well, I'm going to get out of your way and I'll let you go right at it. Have fun, my friend. I'm going to stand right here and watch the magic happen.
Great. Thanks, Dan.
Go for it.
All right. So as Austin and I are kind of walking you through this, so the first thing that we need to work on is going to be identification of someone in cardiac arrest. So the first thing that we're going to do as we see somebody down is we're going to, and it sounds kind of bad, but we're going to be shouting at them. Hey, are you okay? Are you okay? If they do not respond, we're going to come up next to them. We're going to tap their shoulders. We're going to say, are you okay? Are you okay? If they do not respond to that, then we're going to be checking breathing. So we're going to be tilting the head back, and we're going to be listening, seeing if there's any breath. We're going to be feeling if there's any breath on my ear, and I'm also watching the chest to see if there's any rise. If they are unresponsive, and if they are not breathing, then we are going to be starting CPR. So go ahead and kind of run through what I just showed you for seeing if they're responsive and breathing.
All right. Hey, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? No breathing.
Great, that's perfect. So now we've identified that they are possibly in cardiac arrest. So the next thing that we're going to do is we need to either call for help if it's available or call 911 and see if there's an AED available. So what that would be is if I was someone else in the household or out in the street, you would point at me and you would say, call 911 and get an AED. And then if there's an AED available, then they will go ahead and bring that in. If you are by yourself, go ahead and call 911, put it on speaker mode, and then initiate CPR.
Got it.
Sound good? So I'll be the bystander, and then you can say, you call for help and get an AED.
Got it. All right. You call for help, get an AED.
That was perfect. So now we have identified that they might be in cardiac arrest, and we have called for help. 911 is the ambulance, fire trucks, everything are going to be en route. So now we're going to start CPR. So there's a couple really important things while we're doing CPR that we're going to want to make sure that we do. So the first thing is positioning. So we can see that we have midline right here, and then what we consider nipple line right here. If you make a cross with that, you're going to put the palm of your hand right in the center of that chest. So go ahead, get as close to the mannequin as possible, put your upper body over, straighten your arms out, and put your hand right there. Perfect. So now we have our positioning. The next thing that we need to do is we are pushing hard and fast. So between 100 to 120 beats per minute. A good way to kind of get that rhythm down is Staying Alive by the Bee Gees. So go ahead and push all the way down, approximately 2 to 2.5 inches, and then come all the way up. Absolutely. Okay, so let's go ahead and try kind of that push down and back up. There you go. Now go ahead and try and do it within the rhythm of Staying Alive by the Bee Gees. Fantastic. So as we're watching Austin here, we can see, Dan, that he is pushing at approximately 110 beats a minute. He's going all the way down and then coming all the way back up. The key to that is that if you think of the heart as a pump, we need to make sure that it's fully primed before the next compression to be able to get that blood circulating. That is our ultimate goal with CPR. So shoulders are in line to the chest, arms are fully straight, his knees are as close to that mannequin as possible, and he's pushing at the appropriate rate and depth. So you can go ahead and stop there, Austin. If you have taken a CPR class in the past, what they used to teach is 30 and 2. Now new protocols are that we are doing hands-only CPR, which means that we are not worrying about any rescue breaths anymore. All that we are worried about is just pushing hard and fast on the chest. Studies have shown that it can be more effective than rescue breaths because the key here is that we want to be doing high-quality CPR as much as possible.
All right.
Okay.
Assuming it's working, how does he know it's working? Does the patient, this is a dummy, it's not going to become conscious unless it's a really good dummy. How do you know you're making progress? How do you know it's working in that respect? And what exactly is going on? Are you trying to get the heart back in rhythm or just starting again?
So what we're trying to do is basically replicate what the heart is doing in all of our bodies right now, which is pumping blood. Typically, in most situations, there are some exceptions, but it's not going to actually restart the heart. What it's doing is it's getting blood to the brain. That's really what we're trying to do with CPR. So imagine when you're pushing down, that blood is squeezing out of the heart, and then as we come all the way back up off the chest, it's allowing it to refill. So the heart stopped at this point. So really what we're trying to do is just replicate what it's doing normally. What's actually could potentially restart the heart is what we're going to go over later, which is the AED.
Okay, do you want to interrupt? Just a question I wanted to have. Go right back at it there.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and kind of start from the beginning. So the identification, calling 911, getting an AED, starting compressions, and we'll do that for about 30 seconds, and then we'll go ahead and stop, okay?
Got it.
And I will be the bystander for you.
Okay. All right. So the person's down on the ground?
They are laying down on the ground.
Hey, are you okay? Are you okay?
They do not respond.
Are you okay?
They do not respond.
Listening for breathing,
You don't notice any breathing.
Okay. You, go call 911 and get an AED.
Okay, can do. Okay, fantastic. Good work. You can go ahead and stop.
So how do you know, Jonah, that what you're doing is having a positive effect, that the person who's in cardiac distress is responding to what you're doing?
Yeah, in some rare instances, just doing CPR is enough to be able to have someone regain consciousness. You are pushing on their chest at that time, so typically they're going to be trying to push you off. That is a good time to go ahead and stop CPR. If they go unconscious again and stop breathing again, then that means that the CPR was working, but they need it continued. So go ahead and start CPR again. If you are getting tired, if you have someone else who's available to be able to do CPR, go ahead and swap in with them. The priority here is that we want to do good quality compressions. Typically, those each round only lasts 2 minutes. And that's what studies have found, is that that's kind of the maximum amount of time that you can do CPR effectively for most people. If you get tired, swap out with someone. If you don't have someone available, just try and do the best that you can. Unfortunately, if they don't regain consciousness, there's no really good way to be able to tell if what you're doing is working, other than the science has shown that doing good, high-quality CPR is what's actually going to save somebody's life. Unfortunately, we won't know that it's fully saved their life with good neurological outcome until probably weeks later.
But don't stop.
Don't stop.
Don't stop. And keep in mind, and we need to stress this whole time you should be on the phone with Rivercom or the 911 dispatcher, whoever it may be, on speakerphone. You're talking to them, and they're helping you out throughout the course of this process.
Yep, they will be able to provide a metronome for you, walking you step by step each process that you need to be doing, but actually being able to have hands on a mannequin will show you kind of what the feeling is like, because if you've never done it before and you've never practiced, it's going to be a very kind of odd feeling, especially the initial CPR, because it feels like you're breaking bones, but you're actually not. You can't harm somebody with CPR. At that point, unfortunately, they're already in cardiac arrest, so any injuries that you may cause is negligible to saving their life. So don't worry about injuring somebody. You can't go too deep, but you can go too shallow.
Good advice. Good advice. We also mentioned at the very start of this deal, you're calling 911. The person is down. Somebody, hopefully, is trying to locate an AED. If you're in a public space where a considerable amount of people are gathering, there's going to be an AED somewhere nearby. Probably not at your house. If you're at your home, most people don't have an AED just sitting around at their house. But if you're in a public spot and there's an AED available, go get it right away.
Absolutely.
And we're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna do a little demonstration on how an AED works. Does that work?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Keeping your ticker alive to keep this thing alive, to keep my career alive when we come back.
Well, looks like our surgery patient is feeling better today.
Yep, I didn't need any oxy today. I thought I'd do a little surgery on the drain.
Huh. Do you need your pain pills anymore?
No.
Well, we should get them out of the house. There are places to drop them off.
Yeah, okay. Actually, I can do that right now.
And I will look at the drain.
Prevent opioid misuse. Find safe medication return options near you at med-project.org.
All right, we are back. AEDs are everywhere, and if they're not everywhere, they should be everywhere. And everybody needs to know how to use them. Now, Jonah here brought an AED with him, and the nice thing about the AED, it's like having a 911 dispatcher in that nice little yellow box there, isn't it?
Absolutely. So this is the trainer AED that we have. The wonderful thing about AEDs is that they're all kind of set up very similarly. They'll look different, but they're going to tell you exactly what to do as soon as you turn them on. So that's going to be one of the first things that we do once we get an AED is turn it on. It's going to go step by step through each kind of piece that we have. If you already know CPR, some of the first instructions that it tells you, you're going to have already done. You're going to have checked responsiveness, checked for breathing, and called 911. From that point, it's going to instruct you to take the pads out. And the pads are wonderful because they give you diagrams on where exactly to put the pads. So if you follow those diagrams, you're going to be doing just great. And then it's going to tell you to step away from the patient. What's important with that is while we're using this AED, it's trying to analyze the electrical current within the heart. If we are moving the patient or if we are have our own electrical current, it's going to mess with this and it won't be able to shock at that point. That's the key, is that if a shock is available, we want to be able to provide that. So when it tells you to stand clear from the patient, make sure that you kind of step away, you're not moving them, jostling them, anything like that. As we kind of open up the AED here, we'll see that there are some pads in there. And they have the diagrams right here for where to put them on. When I turn this on, we can hear it kind of walk us through step by step each piece.
Unit okay. Stay calm. Check responsiveness. Call for help. Attach defib pads to patient's bare chest.
So does it stop there until you do it?
Absolutely.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Might take.
Don't touch patient. Analyzing.
It'll take a couple seconds to analyze. That's normal.
No shock advised. Start CPR.
Okay, and then at that point you would follow the directions and start CPR. In 2 minutes, it's going to tell you to go ahead and stop CPR at that point so it can reanalyze again. Most AEDs will be able to analyze within about 5 to 10 seconds is kind of the industry standard now. But again, make sure that you're not touching the patient during that time so it can properly analyze. Okay, so what I would like to do now is let's go ahead and run through a whole scenario. This is going to be start to finish, just like we practiced earlier. But at this point, when you ask for that AED, I'm going ahead and bring it in, and we can see how it integrates within CPR. The key with the AED is as soon as it's available, we want to make sure that we are putting it on and allowing it to analyze. Okay, any questions before we start?
No questions.
All right, let me go ahead and put this all back together and we'll get started.
I like that voice on the AED. It's very For soothing.
Soothing, yeah. Well, for a very high stress situation, it kind of needs to be.
Because the one I got was a cheap one, and when you open it up, it says panic.
Panic?
Panic now. And it's just, I took it back.
Did you tell it that you're already panicking?
Yeah. All right, here we go. The AED has arrived.
Okay, go ahead and start from the beginning.
All right. So, unresponsive.
Unresponsive.
Okay. Hey, are you okay? Are you okay?
They do not respond to you.
Can you hear me? Are you okay?
Still not responding.
All right. Listen for breathing.
You do not notice any breathing.
Okay. You go call 911 and grab an AED.
Okay. All right. So now I'm going to be coming in with the AED. First thing I'm going to do before I do anything is I'm going to go ahead and turn it on and come to the other side of the patient.
Unit okay. Stay calm. Check responsiveness. Call for help. Attach defib pads to patient's bare chest.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pull out the pads here, follow the diagram, and I'm going to ask Austin, stop CPR. Okay, I'm going to put the defib pads on. Okay, and now that they're on, go ahead and start CPR until it tells us to analyze.
Don't touch patient.
All right, go ahead and stop CPR. It's analyzing.
Don't touch patient. Analyzing.
Whether we shock or don't shock.
No shock advised.
All right, no shock advised. Go ahead and start CPR again. All right, and go ahead and end the scenario there.
All right.
Fantastic. So within that kind of analyzing, what it noticed is that there wasn't what we...
CPR.
Let me turn this off. What we noticed is that there was no shock advised. That means that the heart is not in a rhythm that would benefit from a shock. There are some rhythms that it does, there's some rhythms that it doesn't. That doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong or doing anything right. That's just what the heart is doing at that time. You may have a shock advised later. You may never have one. That's okay, just continue doing CPR and listening to what the AED does. Do you have any questions about that?
No questions.
Okay, fantastic. So that's kind of what a very quick and dirty scenario looks like, Dan, especially when it's included with the AED. So as Dr. Jobe talked about a little bit earlier, the two kind of most critical things that happen when someone's in cardiac arrest that we can do to help them is good CPR and an AED. Everything else doesn't quite have as much of a monumental kind of improvement to survival.
Keep the blood flowing, keep the blood to the brain is key.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And then trying to restart the heart here with the AED are going to be the two biggest things that we can do for somebody.
You want something a little more in-depth than what we just showed you? Again, Saturday, June 24th at the Pilots Public Market, beginning at 10 a.m. A whole bunch of folks who know what they're doing, EMTs from all over the place, are going to be there to help you out so you can get even more information than we had today. This is great. This worked out really good.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. Jonah, thanks for taking your time out of your busy day.
Of course.
And like I said last week when I saw you, I hope you're so bored today. Like I had nothing going on. That goes for you too. This guy came down on his day off. That's pretty impressive.
Yep.
In fact, take the rest of the day off.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
We'll be right back.
Bring the whole family up to Stormy Mountain Brewing and local public house in historic downtown Chelan. Applewood smoked brisket, street-style tacos, and our award-winning barbecue rubs and sauces. Our meals pair perfectly with our exciting lineup of craft ales, made right here in Chelan. We've got room for big groups, or give us a call for catering. So grab the kids and check out the fun at Stormy Mountain Brewing and local public house located in the heart of Chelan.
The Lake Chelan Rotary Club invites you to experience Cycle Chelan, held June 24th, 2023. Pick your thrill from 4 rides: the Metric Century Challenge, Cycle Divino, the Lake Loop, or the Butte Blast. All profits from Cycle Chelan are used to support student scholarships and other charitable activities of the Lake Chelan Rotary Club. Cycle Chelan 2023, a route for every rider. Pick your thrill today.
Before we get to the forecast, one more friendly reminder on Winning Wednesday up for grabs today, a $50 gift card from our friends at Cafe Columbia. Cafe Columbia at the Pybus Public Market. Get in your email, winner at ncwlife.com, winner at ncwlife.com. We'll do the drawing a little bit later on today. And thanks to Cafe Columbia for allowing me to come down and disrupt what would otherwise be a normal business day. They've been there since they started, so they know what they're doing, which puts them one up on this program. From the National Weather Service,